What is athletics? Considered by many to be the oldest organized sport in the world, athletics consists of the practice of a number of diverse physical disciplines, such as running, throwing, jumping and marching, as well as their combined forms, through a number of sporting events. Consecutive. It is carried out in stadiums, usually outdoors, and requires a series of implements such as javelins, poles, discs, hammers, hurdles and obstacles, as well as a group of specialist judges who observe the performance of athletes and the competition. Some of them deal with the stopwatch, with which they measure elapsed times and can set records. Nowadays athletics is part of the professional sports disciplines and has an important prestigious field, especially due to its inclusion in the Olympic Games that take place every 4 years in a different place on the planet. Athletics features, source athletics in Greece, competitions were organized to choose the most skillful man. Like so many other things, athletics comes from classical antiquity, from Greece. The first mention of it dates from 776 BC, from a list of winning Greek athletes in sports games. However, many of the sports disciplines it contained were already common in previous civilizations, such as the Egyptian or the Minoan. The Greeks were devoted to competition and organized different games, Olympic, Pythian, Isthmian, Panatian, etc., to choose their most skilled men and give them glory by crowning them with laurels. Initially there was no other award than this one, but in classical times, some of them began to give the victors a black varnished amphora, filled with good oil and engraved with motifs referring to the sporting discipline in which they had won. Those are the ancestors of our modern cups and trophies. Etymology. The word athlete comes from the Greek word aethlos, which means fighter or competitor, and which passed into Latin as an athlete. From there words like athletics were derived, which would literally mean competition. Athletics history. Initially, only those considered gentlemen could compete. The first known modern athletics meeting took place in 1825 in England, where racing and sporting competitions had been frequent during medieval and Victorian times. Initially, only those considered gentlemen could compete, that is, neither workers, nor craftsmen, nor women, nor professional athletes. The sport abandoned his ties to the bet and the world of the money and gave the sporting spectacle, which in the case of athletics was restricted to amateurism, i.e. could not compete in any sport practicing professionals. Finally, in 1982, these requirements were dropped when considering the preparatory efforts required to train an athlete. Olympics. Athletics was among the Olympic sports disciplines since its resurgence in contemporary times, in 1896, in Athens. From then on this sport will increase its devotees all over the world, in an explosion of athletic federations and important world championships. Athletics events. Athletics. The jumps are tests in which the length and height are the limit to overcome. Under the name of athletics, a series of different sports events meet, which we detail below. Foot races. Competitions where the agility, speed and resistance of the competitors who start from a finish line and travel a certain distance are put to the test to see who arrives first. It can be a sprint race, 100 meters flat, long distance race, more than 3,000 meters, or medium distance, 800 to 3,000 meters, road races, cross-country, hurdles with obstacles, relays or athletic walking, between 20 and 50 kilometers. Jumps. Helped with a pole or simply taking impulse to jump further, these are tests in which length or height are the limit to overcome. It can be pole vault, long jump, triple jump or high jump. Releases. In this case, the athlete must throw an object of controlled weight and dimensions to measure who can make it go further. This sport is inspired by the ancestral hunting dynamics of the human being and consists of the variants, discus throw, javelin throw, hammer throw and shot put. Combined tests. They are those that mix various disciplines, such as the decathlon, which is made up of 10 athletics events, 4 races, 100 meters, 400 meters, 110 meters with hurdles and 1,500 meters, 3 jumps, length, height and pole, and 3 throws, weight, discus and javelin. These tests are measured with points and in the end overall winners are chosen. Athletics rules. Strict laws are currently enacted regarding this sport that guarantee fairness in the events and the frankness of the athletes' efforts. This goes through careful searches of the competitors, who are given a warm-up zone before entering the exercise, and the opportunity to participate barefoot or in shoes. They must have their implements provided by an athletics federation attached to the central guild, and are controlled against doping. Athletes represent their federation and their nation, a matter also subject to regulations since in cases of change of nationality or dual nationality, the athlete must wait 3 years before representing another nation in a competition. Main competences. Athletics. There are national competitions organized by each particular athletics federation. Beyond the Olympic Games held every 4 years, there are several important international competitions in this area, such as the World Athletics Championships that began in 1983, or the World Indoor Athletics Championships that were inaugurated in 1985 in Paris. In addition, the federations organize constant continental competitions, known as the Asian Championship, the European Championship, etc. And, of course, there are also national competitions organized by each particular athletics federation. Records. Athletics. Women's records began to be recorded from 1936. Athletics records have been officially kept since 1912, at least those of the male gender, by the IAAF. Prior to this, there was no unified regulation to establish records. The first list of top marks was published in 1914, and in 1936 women's athletics also began to be registered. This institution ensures that records are measured with the same method and under rigid standards that do not allow ambiguity or doubt. International Athletics Organization. The main authority that ensures the coordination, protection and regulation of professional athletes in this discipline is called the International Association of Athletics Federations (IAAF), and was founded in 1912 by amateur athletics delegations from 17 different nations, in a congress held in Sweden. Its current headquarters is in Monaco, since October 1993, and since 1982 it has proceeded to change certain rules of the discipline to allow athletes to receive financial compensation for their efforts. Most famous athletes. Some of the most outstanding athletes in the discipline are: Carl Lewis, American, outstanding in sprinting; Paavo Nurmi, Finnish, long and medium distance runner who together with Ville Ritola and Hannes Kolemainen were nicknamed the Flying Finns in the middle of the 20th century; Emil Zatopek, Czechoslovakian, champion of the 5,000 meters, 10,000 meters and the marathon of the 1952 Olympic Games; Carolina Kluft, Swayka, contemporary queen of heptathlon; Yelena Isinbayeva, Russian, outstanding pole vaulter.